The auto industry's refusal to act for a long time has left it mired in a predicament for which there is no easy way out. But expensive to do is no longer an excuse for failure to do.
That was Senator and presidential hopeful Barack Obama. The Democrat, of course, not the only lawmaker focused on fuel efficiency. A Senate panel is meeting right now at this very moment. This is the Senate Commerce, Science, and Transportation Committee. They're marking up the 10 and 10 Fuel Economy Act. That's the one that would require increases in federal fuel economy rules. So should the government raise fuel economy standards? We're speaking today with Sam Kazman. He is the general counsel with the Competitive Enterprise Institute. Also, Phil Clapp is the president of the National Environmental Trust. And gentlemen, thank you for being here. Philip, why now on this bill?
The auto industry has fought this for 30 years, and I worked on the Hill when we passed the first fuel economy standards in 1975. And the industry has focused over and over again on producing very fuel inefficient cars, which has hurt their business, increased U.S. oil imports, and left the country in a dangerous situation.
And a dangerous situation meaning what?
Dangerous situation meaning heavily dependent on imported oil, not even making any efforts to crank down the dependence of our economy. And finally, consumers who are paying through the nose at the pump, and Congress hasn't done anything for consumers at the pump in 30 years, and this is the only thing Congress can do.
Sam, that argument is still one that the big automakers are waging today. In fact, GM's Washington spokesman saying any GM employee ought to be deeply concerned about this because any unreasonable increase will have a devastating economic impact. How much of an impact do you think something like this will?
I think the ones who suffer the real impact of CAFE have been consumers in the past and will be even worse for consumers in the future because CAFE kills consumers. The National Scientists found in 2002 that because CAFE restricts the size and weight of cars, it reduces vehicle crashworthiness, it contributes to about 2,000 deaths a year. And believe me, if CAFE is made even more stringent, it's going to get even deadlier in the future. Yet you're not going to find anyone on my opponent's side admitting that CAFE kills anyone.
That's absolutely false. That's absolutely false.
And we all know it.
That's absolutely false, and that is not what the National Academy of Sciences said.
Yes, they did.
The National Academy of Sciences.
Executive finding. It's there in both.
The National Academy of Sciences.
Hold on a minute, Philip. Explain your point, please.
The National Academy of Sciences said flatly that fuel economy increases could be done as high as 40 to 42 miles a gallon. If carefully done, the cars would be just as safe. It is not a question of being unable to do it, and that is a complete mischaracterization of what the National Academy of Sciences said. They said that there had been some costs of CAFE in the past, but the bill that's moving through the Commerce Committee responds to that directly.
It simply ignores it.
Sam, go ahead.
It simply ignores the safety issue. It will get worse, and that's because it's hard for government to admit that one of its programs actually kills people.
Well,
but
Sam,
there have been numerous findings. But here's another point: we have high gasoline prices now, and consumers are responding to them by seeking out better fuel economy on their own. They adjust their commuting habits. They adjust the places where they choose to live and look for jobs. They adjust the very types of cars they buy, which is why several car makers are finding themselves in a big bind due to shifts in car buying preferences over the last year. But the notion that Congress has a better idea for how to build cars is crazy.
Congress had a better idea in 1975, and consumers have saved over $175 billion as a result of the 1975 standards. Not only that, the industry actually started to recover in the 1980s.
Oh, come on. Let's take a look at this. This is a time when gas prices are rising, and most people say higher prices cure high prices. Is this something that the market itself can solve?
No, absolutely not, and it hasn't. The auto industry has laid hundreds of thousands of workers off simply because it refuses to increase for fuel efficiency and continues to lose market share to Japanese cars.
Well, then let the Japanese car makers win if they're so much better. But in fact, I suspect car makers do a much better job giving consumers what they want than politicians. Let me give you another example.
Absolutely
Let me give you another example. Over the weekend, Consumer Reports came out with some shocking findings that the federal government's energy conservation standards for washing machines have totally ruined the affordable category. They simply have no Best Buy in washing machines for the first time in years. Now, if Congress can mess up a
I'm not going to get into a shouting match here.
If Congress can mess up a simple appliance like that, how can they design cars?
Gentlemen, I'm sorry. We have to leave it at this, but it's obviously something you both feel pretty strongly about. So if you will come back at another time, we will continue this discussion. Again, Philip and Sam, I want to thank you for your time today. Okay. Even though stocks are taking a little bit of a breather after 5 straight days of gains, we're still going to be